Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Hey, yo, Donald Trump is let it be known that right now he could send who he wants to send to Seacot prison in Central America in El Salvador. That includes Big D, Big U, Big K, Big P, Little Dirk, little anything you want to call it, they could send them there. All right, let's play it out and so we can see what Donald Trump talking about.
How many illegal criminals are you planning on exporting to El Salvador? And President Bukele, how many are you willing to take from the U.S.?
As many as possible. I'd like to go a step further. I mean, I said it to Pam. I don't know what the laws are. We always have to obey the laws, but we also have homegrown criminals that push people into subways, that hit elderly ladies on the back of the head with a baseball bat when they're not looking, that are absolute monsters. I'd like to include them in the group of people to get them out of the country, but you'll have to be looking at the laws on that, Steve, okay?
Unique Mecca Audio, man. Let's make sure everything working. We looking good. So I just want y'all to fully understand where we at right now. So the president is letting it be known clear as day. He's being 100% transparent. Nobody can be mad. He's letting it be known that if you break the law, they could send you to Seacot prison. You don't want to go to Seacot prison. I'm going to play a little bit of this video so you can see what's going on in LA. This is just one place because we got the big U thing that's jumping, just so you can see. Now, watch this video and you tell me if they should be or will be included in that batch to go to Seacot prison. All right, let's go.
Blacks and Hispanics, they get tired of getting beat up by Samoans. Because that's all we know is fist fights.
Did you catch this? 100%. Samoan. Lift up your shirt, bro. Lift up your shirt.
Lift up your shirt, show your tap.
Look at that. Samoan.
Wrestling with the one dude came and kicked me in the side of the face. Wrestling with the blood filter in my eyes, so I couldn't see.
Y'all the same, homie. That's Booyah tribe, you know what I'm saying? That's how Samoans get down.
Big U had a serious rep for being a bully, being the top dog of the Rollin 60s. He was known for extorting other gangs, pressing celebrities, and just using fear to get his way. That kind of behavior is exactly what landed him behind bars eventually. But before karma came knocking, there was one crew he couldn't push around, the Samoan gangs.
You gonna get murdered too. That's what the whole song talk about. Another body murdered coming from gangsta.
And if you know even a little about gang culture, then you know the Sons of Samoa aren't to be taken lightly. They are one of the most serious and dangerous yet respected groups out there.
Did you catch this?
Hey, yo, before you catch that, right? Because we like to ride. We like to ride. Yo, I was locked up with some Samoans, right? The Samoans is known as Islanders. They go hard, you know? Big shout out to Lil Dennis, you know, from Guam. Those are all Islanders. They run in a car, and that's the car that the Samoans run with. Now, they ain't nothing to mess with. They real nice people. They give you the utmost respect, but they put their work in as well. So don't get it twisted. So this is something that I know the brothers and sisters on the East Coast don't know anything about, but I had the pleasure of being around some official Samoans now. So, you know, only because we riding. Lord Dennis's peoples from Guam, right? They had the first officer that was, you know, murdered in the federal prison system since 1996. And it was a Guam dude that did it, that came there. And it's already out, so public records, you know, the rat bastards and flip-flop wearing in public trolls, they quick to say something, right? But, you know, dude was trying to leave the prison and to get to his brother, because they just made Guam, where they were sending the Guam prisoners over to the United States. But that's a part of the United States soil. But what Donald Trump is proposing to do now is to send people that citizens outside of United States jurisdiction, and that's what they're going to wind up fighting in court. But they was from Guam, which is part of the United States, and it's 23 hours away, so they wound up sending them over here, and they classified them. They sent the brother that was the leader, the ADX. They sent the lieutenant to Atwater, where I was at, and then I was there with Lord Dennis, and the brother was trying to get the ADX with his brother because he said he's 23 hours away from wherever he came from, all the way in Guam, so, you know, he ain't never going to see his family because it ain't like he going to get no visit. So therefore, he just want to go to ADX with his brother. But ADX is 23-hour lockdown. That's supposed to be the ultimate punishment, and no one is supposed to ask to want to go to ADX. So they paused the officers over at the police thing in Atwater. They told them only way to get there is to go kill somebody, you know. So dude goes back, and of course he wound up killing, you know, unaliving the cop. Rest in peace to the officer. But he wound up taking the officer's life. It was a young officer named Rivera. He used to work in my unit. I talked to him a few times. He did a little crash dummy move, and I tried to tighten him up how to move like a convict officer instead of like a correction officer. But he was receptive, but he was still military bound because he was in the military. If you look it up, probably from, he was like 14, 15 years old. He was really seasoned in the military, little stocky, you know, Hispanic brother. But anyway, rest in peace to him. But he's over there with them. So dude decides to, you know, take his life because his cousin came, and his cousin was on his way to ADX where he was trying to go. So he tell his cousin, hey, I'm trying to get to ADX, but they telling me only way I got to get there is to kill somebody. How you getting there? He said, oh, I killed somebody, you know, something simple like that. So then dude said, all right, bet. So he didn't want to kill another inmate, so he wound up unaliving an officer, correction officer. So now he went and unalived the correction officer, hit him about 32 times. It was real horrific. We're not going to get in. If you want to know more about this, go to Unique Mecca Audio Prison Stories. I tell about all these stories over there at Unique Mecca Audio Prison Stories, right? And, you know, make sure you check out my daughter's YouTube channel, Juanita Mecca Audio, Juanita Mecca Audio. She tells about what it was like for her being in prison. Well, for me being in prison 26 years away from her life. So I went in when she was 7. I came home, she's 30-something years old, and she speaks about how she felt, and I think that's real deep. Y'all really need to go get into that. I should have explained that, what her channel is about, so you know what to look for. And I'm going to do a reaction to a couple of them, but I got to help her with the audio. But anyway, so that's where we at, man. Let's get back to this video.
100%. Samoan. Lift up the shirt, bro. Lift up the shirt. Lift up the shirt. Show your tap. Look at that. Samoan.
So when Big U tried to bring that same bully energy to them, it backfired badly. This takes us to April 2014. Big U got into it with some Samoan guys who were working security at a club. According to Big U's version of the story, the whole situation kicked off when his homie wasn't allowed into the club by the Samoan security. His boys started mouthing off, and things escalated from there.
Who's going in? It's only 30, 40 minutes left in the club. This dude hired something. Your homeboy house. Yeah, they won't let him in. I'm like, I'm gonna stay out here with him. He just get off on the security guard for no apparent reason.
Big U says the security guards started gathering around them, about 15 deep. He claims he sized up the situation, knew he was outnumbered, but still decided to fight.
Security gathers. Big U, you straight, girl? So I made the assessment. It's 15 of them. You 50 get But how the rules go, I'm gonna get in where I'm mad at. Wrestling with the one dude came and kicked me in the side of the face.
And according to him, he held his own against all of them.
I think I did pretty good, me versus 15. You know what I'm saying? Other would said and went back home. That's the difference between Big U and 90% of these motherfuckers.
But honestly, not many people believe that story. First of all, it's the Samoans we're talking about. Nobody's buying that one guy, even someone with Big U's rep, took on 15 Samoans and came out clean. Especially since after the fight, Big U was seen with a bloody face, one eye swollen and bleeding. Dude looked rough. Even his own son was pissed about how bad he looked, which pretty much told everyone who really caught the beatdown.
Oh, y'all hit him like that? It's a crime scene. Hold up, you back up. Back up, bleeding. Hold up, bleeding.
So a lot of people think Big U made up the whole "I fought them all off" angle to protect his image, especially since he was always hyping himself up as one of the Rollin 60s top fighters.
I was a squabble in the hood. I squabbled everything. So I would say me.
That whole incident also got people talking about the clear differences between Big U and the Samoan gangs. Yeah, the Samoans are definitely feared, but they're also respected. They carry themselves with honor, look out for their community, respect their people, and even try to uplift the weak and steer the youth away from violence.
What we want to advocate the colors. We want to leave the colors for the next generation, right?
You want to leave the colors
alone.
Gotcha. Bloods and Crips.
Right.
Meanwhile, Big U and his Rollin 60s clique have been known more for chaos, destruction, and even killing each other. Everybody already knew Big U was one of the top dogs in the Rollin 60s Crips. He never hid his gang ties. He was always talking about how he came up robbing cars and earned his rep in the streets by putting hands on his enemies. Back in the 80s, Big U was deep in the drug game, but he claimed he gave it up after reading the autobiography of Malcolm X. That's when he switched lanes and got into the rap industry. He started managing artists, and one of the first big names he worked with was Corrupt, but Big U never really left the streets. In 1991, he got caught up trying to steal a massive load of an undercover cop, which landed him in prison for 13 years. While locked up, Big U was still on his gangster time. He admitted to stabbing multiple people in prison and even bragged about knocking a dude's eyeball out of its socket with a single punch. After serving his time, he came home in 2004 and rebranded himself as a community leader by starting a charity called Developing Options. On paper, Developing Options was supposed to help kids stay out of the streets and get involved in sports. But according to the feds, Big U was using the charity as a front to move dirty money. The city of LA even funded Developing Options through the Gang Reduction and Youth Development GRID program, giving Big U over $500,000 a year since 2015. That money was supposed to go toward at-risk youth, but instead Big U was allegedly pocketing a huge chunk of it.
Funding a South LA-based charity, Developing Options, which purports to help at-youth risk escape gang life.
See, the thing they gotta understand is, man, when you give money to people like us, I'ma say from the urban communities, and we're supposed to manage money like this is new to us. So there's gonna be little I's not dotted and T's not crossed, but it don't mean that it amounts to criminal. It could have amounted to just not known. You know, it's like because you give us the money don't mean we know how to deal with all aspects of the money. No, that means that we have a method to dealing with getting to the youth on the street, and we come to you to be funded. So you fund this. If you want to do something, you should have sent Big U an accountant, so that he'll know how to handle the money and how to cross his T's and dot his I's. You know, but because he makes a mistake, I mean, to turn it into money laundering and this mafia thing, I don't really know if I'm really seeing it like that, because I mean, if you get money sent to you and you have to pay yourself, you have to write a check to yourself. And that could have been what those checks was for, that he was writing it. I mean, just common sense to really even be going this far down the road. But let's get back to this, John.
And escape the perils of gangs in high crime areas.
And it wasn't just government money. Even celebrities got caught up in the scam. According to the indictment, Draymond Green and Shaquille O'Neal both donated $20,000 each to Developing Options, thinking they were supporting a good cause. But instead of helping kids, Big U allegedly transferred the money straight into his personal accounts.
Mr. Henley is accused of embezzling donations made by celebrities, professional athletes, and businesses to his charity, Developing Options.
Some people got scammed out of money. Others got hands put on them. One of the wildest stories in the indictment involves boxer Adrian Broner. Back in 2019, Broner allegedly set up a high-stakes dice game in LA, inviting a bunch of NBA players. The problem was that Broner and his crew were using trick dice and ended up finessing millions from the players. When Big U heard about it, he wasn't happy, not because of the scam itself, but because Broner didn't check in with him first. So Big U sent his crew to rough up Adrian Broner. After that, Big U took the money Broner.
You see what he's saying? What he's saying is that if he would have checked it with him and cut him in on the cut, then everything would have been good. Ain't no problem you using trick dice, but make sure if you come in my town and use trick dice, I want to be compensated. Now we know that's against the law. Now the feds move in, they lock them up. So now you see what it is. So everything that was being bragged about is being used against you because those things were criminal. Let's keep it moving. All right.
Honor had stolen from the NBA players and gave it back to them, but of course it wasn't just out of the kindness of his heart. He allegedly made each player pay him $100,000 in exchange for getting their money back. And according to an FBI informant, this wasn't just a one-time thing. A lot of NBA players and celebrities would check in with Big U to make sure they were safe at parties, games, or advertising shoots. Anyone who didn't check in risked getting pressed by Big U's crew. Big U even once said, "If I don't pick up the phone, that could mean death for somebody." The indictment also reveals that Big U was shaking down weed dispensaries, forcing them to pay him $25,000 a month just to operate without problems. One dispensary owner couldn't afford the payments anymore, so Big U sent his goons to rob the shop. Armed men stormed in, stole cash and a bunch of weed. Then later that same day, Big U called the shop owner to his house. When the owner showed up, Big U had all the stolen money and product laid out on the table and told him, "That's how you rob yourself." Then, just to add insult to injury, he made the guy pay him another $10,000 to avoid getting robbed again. But Big U wasn't done yet. He wanted to rob more dispensaries. He told the same shop owner to help him set up other weed stores, promising him a cut of the money. As proof of how serious he was, Big U even handed the guy back some of the money that had just been stolen from his own shop. Now, on the flip side, we have the Samoans. Like we mentioned earlier, these guys weren't playing around. They were known for being one of the most serious and dangerous gangs out there. The gang, known as Sons of Samoa, SOS, got its start back in the mid-1980s in Long Beach, California. Over time, though, their reach expanded way beyond that. By the 1990s, they had spread to Hawaii and across various parts of California, including key areas in the Bay Area like San Jose, Oakland, and Hayward. Incidentally, these were the same cities where members of the Samoan family lived, which only added to their deep connections and influence in the region. The police in Washington state had a lot to say about the SOS gang and their reputation. They were well known for using intimidation tactics to get what they wanted. Extortion was also a common move, and they weren't shy about pulling off drug ripoffs or even committing homicide when things escalated.
What kind of weapons do the gangs use? Your gang, for example?
38, 22, 357, 9, AK.
It's pretty heavy sort of artillery.
Yeah.
These guys weren't the type to back down from a fight either. They'd throw hands with just about any gang that crossed their path. Their most common rivals, though, were the Tongan Crips gangsters, which only added to the tension on the streets. When it came to their image, the SOS gang used a few specific symbols to represent themselves. One of their most recognizable signs was the Seattle Mariners logo, which they'd use on hats or clothing. They also had unique hand signals to show affiliation. These weren't just for show. These symbols carried weight, especially in gang-heavy areas where every sign and symbol sent a message. According to Long Beach detective Norm Sorensen, who spoke to the Los Angeles Times in 1990, the Sons of Samoa had a reputation for being an incredibly tough group, especially when they had been drinking or were under the influence of drugs. Sorensen explained that their tolerance for conflict was basically if someone so much as looked at them the wrong way. A fight was almost guaranteed to break out. He described them as the type of gang that would fight at the drop of a hat, and their unpredictability made them even more dangerous. Their violent reputation wasn't just talk either. Stories about the SOS gang's willingness to fight and use violence spread quickly, earning them a lot of respect and fear on the streets. Whether it was intimidation, enforcing their dominance, or straight up brawling with rival gangs, SOS had a no-nonsense approach to handling business. They made sure everyone knew they weren't a group to mess with. One thing that made the Sons of Samoa SOS gang stand out was how different they were from other gangs in certain ways. Unlike most gangs, they didn't operate completely outside of traditional society. There wasn't any formal initiation process like the brutal hazing or jumping in rituals that are common in a lot of gangs. Joining SOS was more organic. Samoans came together out of necessity, driven by the need to protect themselves and each other in communities where they were a small minority. To put things into perspective, back in 2000, the entire Samoan population in Oakland was just 614 people. That's only about 0.15% of the city's population. It's no wonder they felt the need to stick together when they were such a tiny community compared to others. A friend of the Samoan family once described the gang in court records, saying it had a heavy presence in areas like San Jose and even in Samoan churches. It was in these churches that members of SOS would talk about values like respecting others, especially elders. elders, a big part of Samoan culture. But outside of church, it was a whole different story. The same guys who were preaching respect and community inside those walls would show a much darker side when they were out in the streets.
Well, I won't hesitate to shoot anyone.
You won't?
No, I wouldn't hesitate to shoot anyone if they come and mess with me.
Interestingly, despite how bad SOS could be at times, not everyone saw them purely as a criminal gang. For some, especially other Samoans in the area, SOS was more like a social club that brought the community together. It wasn't just about crime. It was about fostering a sense of ethnic brotherhood and looking out for one another in a world where they felt outnumbered and overlooked. For many, it was less about being a gang in the traditional sense and more about having each other's backs in a hostile environment. In the Bay Area, the Sons of Samoa operated a little differently compared to many other gangs, especially when it came to the infamous color wars that defined so much of gang life in places like Los Angeles during the 1990s. While the Bloods and Crips were going at it full force in LA, SOS in the Bay didn't seem to take the...
Now, right, we ain't even gonna go that much further. I want to show you this joint here because this is where they really trying to send the gangbangers. So we went through the hoopla where everybody think, oh, he's glamorizing, oh, that looks cool, right? That looks real cool. But this is the end result of what happened if you decide to get involved with crime, to stay in the gangs, all that. They're telling you what time it is. I played at the beginning, but now I'm gonna play this to keep it moving. This is what's going on.
This is one of the world's most notorious prisons, and there's a plan to send thousands of American criminals here.
Big U, Little Dirk, us, wake up. They're telling you, they're showing you, there's no way you can't say you did not know, so do not be a part of that mass. All right?
Secor is a mega prison in El Salvador, about 1,500 kilometers south of the US-Mexico border. Donald Trump has backed a proposal from El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele to send people here from the US. Trump supporters say it's a win-win. It takes criminals off American streets and takes pressure off American prisons. But critics say it's legally and morally dubious. These images show you just how extreme conditions are inside Secor. Inmates are confined to their cells for 23 hours a day. No mattresses, no sheets, and no direct sunlight.
Look at that. No direct sunlight, no mattress, no shade. Come on.
The artificial lights stay on 24/7.
You know, this like I was in ADX, because we riding. I was in ADX where they used to keep the lights on 24 hours. Like those fluorescent lights. My left eye is still messed up for me laying down trying to go under the blanket to hide from the light. I'm literally trying to hide from the light. But the fluorescent was pulling my eyeball, and even just talking about it makes my eyes water from them keeping the light on 24 hours. And they say they got to spend the rest of their life looking at a fluorescent light. Come on, man. This is what you want? If you're not listening to what Unique Mecca Audio is saying, something wrong with you, man. Make sure you share this video and go check out my daughter's YouTube channel at Juanita Mecca Audio, Juanita Mecca Audio. She speaks about the pain and trials and tribulations that she went through from my mistake of me going to prison for 26 years. I think it's a dope father-daughter duo, so you get in my twisted mind and get into her emotional mind, and she's expressing that for those. So tell a friend to tell a friend. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Hit the notification bell. There's more people watching that's not hitting the notification bell and not subscribed. Subscribe and hit the notification bell. Let's keep it moving.
Exercise is limited to 30 minutes a day, shackled. Each cell holds over 100 inmates in 80 bunks, with just 2 toilets per cell. Water
80 inmates, 2 toilets per cell, water in a wash bucket. Listen, if this is how you want to live your life, keep sliding. You know what I mean? If this don't prevent you from sliding and have you sliding back to the ways that your parents wanted you to move, I don't know what will. But listen to this, how to get water.
Water is controlled by guards. Medical care is minimal, and the surveillance is constant. No visits, no phone calls, no rehabilitation program.
No visits, no phone calls, no nothing. Nobody could come see you. You just waiting to die. And they giving you the bare minimum because they ain't gonna get you no gourmet meal or no meat or nothing like that because, you know, they need it for them.
Inmates' heads are shaved every 5 days. Escape is impossible. The prison is protected by a 15,000-volt electric fence, multiple barbed wire walls, and a staff of around 2,000 guards, soldiers, and police officers. But there's another major obstacle to this plan.
Of course, the biggest concern about this plan is that it's probably illegal. The United States has a constitution. That constitution does not allow the government to deport US citizens to a foreign country. That is essentially what we're talking about here, taking people who are Americans and sending them overseas to be punished by another country's penal system.
But even if it's not legal, Bukele could still have an agenda.
I think pretty much every party involved in this proposal, and that includes the president of El Salvador, know that it can't really go ahead, that it's not legal. So what that means is this is more a symbolic move from the president of El Salvador. He is trying to get in Donald Trump's good books. Now, while Bukele's administration in El Salvador has been quite successful at clamping down on the murder rate and on violent crime in general, economically there's a lot more to worry about. I think what Bukele is hoping for here is a little economic help from the Trump administration. As he
Now, if this is what you're trying to be a part of, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. That man has spoken. He told you. He was straight up. You can't get no better than that. You can't even be mad at him. It is what it is. You know he's telling you, if you violate this, what I'm planning on doing to you, stop it. Get out the streets. It's not worth it. I'm telling you that. Not asking you. I'm telling you from my experience. And Donald Trump is the one that freed me. He gets a round of applause for that. So y'all get mad all you want. You know what I mean? But now I'm spreading the message. All right, relax. So now I'm spreading the message. So you must know that it's not worth it. All that being tough with the gang signs, you know what I mean?
A frightening image inside a prison in El Salvador, and President Nayib Bukele wants the world to see. He says it shows gang members punished and kept in crowded cells away from any sunlight since the end of March.
Man, let's tap out. All right.
Cheers, cheers, the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
Fresh out the can of 26, he back on the strip, getting back in the mix. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spend a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a roaring uptown. They be whoring uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend an ear. He started in uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community yours. So we can give back to the
cheers, cheers, the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.